This video is made possible by all these insanely amazing, lovely people that you see right here. Thanks to them, I'm able to do YouTube videos as a full-time job. My channel wouldn't have gone as far as it has without them, so I am eternally grateful for them granting me this incredible gig that I am so lucky to have. And if you like what I do too, it would mean the world to me if you had a look at my Patreon page. There's all kinds of goodies there, like early access to videos, Telegram chats, helping me decide what videos to make, custom art, and a lot more. Otherwise, keep on keeping on, because you're still amazing just for sitting through this clip for me. Alright, it's time for the video, hope you enjoy!
Hello all, and welcome to this week's bottle episode. This week I'm going to be telling you about all the different kinds of fursuits and what their pros and cons are, so you can decide what's best for you. If you'd like to know just the general pros and cons of fursuits as like a whole, go check out my video on that. I did one of those, because this is going to be all the different kinds specifically. The different methods of getting them, how much of a suit you want, all the different types of full suits, the types of heads. There is a lot to cover here. In fact, there is so much to cover that I can't actually fit it all in one video. I'm going to do types of heads as its own separate bottle episode, and then everything else I'm going to do right now. So stay tuned for next week for heads, and stay tuned for now for the rest. So first thing is how you are getting your suit. There are 4 methods. You've got commissioning, you've got buying a pre-made, you've got buying second-hand, and of course, making it yourself. Let's go into them. So commissioning a maker, which is going to a person or a team that makes fursuits, giving them your ref sheet and a ton of money, and they're waiting for them to finish your suit and mail it to you. Obviously a lot more complicated than that, but that's an entire bottle episode in itself. This is how most people prefer to get their suits because of the one massive pro: it is your own character. You get to choose what the character is, and it saves a lot of time from making it yourself. And then the other big pro is, of course, it's tailor-made to you. There's no worry about whether or not it's going to fit you, because it's made to fit your body shape. Sounds great, right? Good gig? Well, there are some cons. It can be extremely pricey, especially if your character is complex. The more time it's going to take to make your suit, the more it's going to cost. But there is also the huge con that you have to wait for it to be made. This can take up anywhere from a few weeks to a few months to a few years, depending on who your fursuit maker is. The wait will be worth it, but it's just so long. But that is why pre-made fursuits exist. Pre-made fursuits are maker-designed suits that were made for the sole purpose of selling. You get to have a brand new suit sent to you as soon as you finish paying it off. And you get to see what it looks like beforehand too, so no nasty surprises, you get what you see. So obviously there's the con of it's not your persona, but you can always make it your persona. The main con here is it's not always easy to find one you like, because you've got Furby and stuff, but a lot more of the established makers will just post on their social medias, put their pre-mades there and just take the first asking price, or even have their own little private auction in the comments. So you need to keep an eye on lots of awesome makers if you want to snag a sweet pre-made. But if you're after an uncommon species, your search just got a lot harder. If you're not fussed about having a brand new suit, there are second-hand suits. Fursuits that have already been used and loved by someone, and that someone no longer wants it, so you can buy it. A big pro here is you can sometimes get a real bargain if you look in the right place at the right time. But being secondhand, there's always going to be variables. Generally, the older the suit, the cheaper the price, but the more issues it could have. You are also dealing with individuals and not businesses, so this is where scams most commonly happen. They're pretty easy to avoid when you know what's up, so go watch my scam video so you can learn more about that. And then the last option, making it yourself. This is a great choice because not only is it going to be your character, it's going to be a lot cheaper because you're only paying for materials. And as a bonus, if you're really good at it, you might be able to take commissions and make a fair bit of money for yourself. The most obvious con here though is there's going to be a lot of learning involved. You're going to learn how to sew, you're going to learn how to carve foam or cast resin, you're going to find a good place to buy your materials, and it might take you a few tries before you get a suit you're happy with. It's going to take a long time to get the hang of, which a lot of people aren't prepared to do or just literally don't have the time. Alright, let's go into the types of fursuits themselves. So you've got a head on its own, you've got a mini partial, you've got a full partial, you've got a half suit, you've got a full plantigrade suit, a full digigrade suit, a dropped crotch suit, and a quad suit. Let's go through them. Head only. Pretty self-explanatory. No paws, no tail, no anything. Literally just a head. Pro is, it's cheap! You don't have to pay for any extra materials or time that goes into making all other parts of a suit. And it will be finished extremely quickly if you commissioned it or you're making it yourself. But then, the blaring con, you don't have a complete fursuit. Well, I mean, you can make do if you're cool with having human hands, or maybe you've got some stuff lying around at home to make up for the rest of it with. But for most people, it's not complete. However, a pro of this is if you bought the suit and got the character, you can design the rest of it. You've got a solid starting point with the head design, and the rest of it is usually very easy and very fun to design. By the way, I should probably point out one con here that applies to all suits that aren't full suits. If you want to get more parts for the suit later, say like you want to get some arm sleeves or a bodysuit, matching fur is really hard to do. When companies make fur, they dye one massive batch, put that up for sale, and when that runs out, they dye a new big batch, but sadly each batch won't be exactly the same as the last. Might be a bit lighter, a bit more darker, a bit saturated, a bit off color, even blacks and whites. The older your suit is, the harder it's going to be to find some matching fur. Alright, the next type of suit, the mini partial. These include a head, a tail, and some hair paws. The big pro for this one is it's the most affordable complete fursuit. All you need is some long sleeve clothing to cover up your skin, or heck, go full poodle if you want, I don't control your life. And then yeah, you are full on fursuiting. Yay! Another huge pro is it's ridiculously easy to transport. It should fit into a small sports bag quite easily. In fact, it makes fursuiting in general really easy. Like, it only takes you a few seconds to put it on, you won't get as hot, easy to wash. Like, this is definitely the most practical way to fursuit. And really the only cons here are character specific. Like, if your character doesn't wear clothing or they're not really human shaped, they won't really be done full justice by a mini partial, but if you don't care then it don't matter. Next up is a full partial, and what it includes tends to fluctuate from maker to maker, so for the sake of this video, let's include all of it. A head, arm sleeves, leg sleeves, hand paws, feet paws, and a tail. Full partials look great. Like, it is so cool seeing a character wearing short-sleeved human clothing, but all their skin is still covered with fur. It's like real-life Zootopia. So the pro there is you get the effect of a full suit without having to lug a bodysuit everywhere, which means you also get the pro of it's not as hot. Like, definitely going to be hotter than a mini partial, but so much cooler than the full suits. Especially if you intend on wearing clothing with your character, it is a much better idea because when you put your clothing on top of a full suit, you sort of turn yourself into a personal sauna. You still get the sort of same character-specific cons as the mini partial, but you will still look awesome. Now we get to the half suit. A half suit is essentially a full suit, but pick one half of your bodysuit. You can have your torso covered so you don't have to wear a shirt, or you can have furry legs going up to your waist so you don't have to wear pants. Obviously still wearing pants and Under Armour under those furry legs, silly. A half suit is the most practical way to have digigrade legs because you don't have to carry as much around and you won't get as hot. If you're not after digigrade legs, there's not really any other major pros or cons here. It's a cool look, and definitely the best way to wear just pants or just a shirt with your suit. Then you've got full fursuits, covered in fur from head to toe. The first type of full suit is the Plantigrade suit, which means the legs are just regular human legs. No extra padding, good old straight leggies. Plantigrade suits are very, very easy to get in and out of, look incredible, and you get to see your character in the full. They are also extremely comfortable to wear, no big padding in the way, just you and the fur. It's like wearing a blanket, but just like blankets, it's going to get very, very, very warm. Your head is going to be the main place of ventilation, so the rest of you is going to heat up like crazy and get caked in sweat, which is why full suits tend to need a lot of maintenance. You gotta do lots of disinfecting, lots of brushing, and even work out how to give the whole thing a wash. It's almost like having a pet with the amount of care it needs. Then there's of course digigrade fursuits, or digidegrade, whichever you prefer, they're both right. It means legs that have that zigzag to them so they look like animal legs, which is the main pro for these. By changing your legs, you've gone from human shape to full-on animal walking around. You look so different, and this gives them that extra wow factor to make the suit really stand out and skyrocket your performing effectiveness. However, these kinds of suits are extremely pricey. The patterning and the padding work that goes into these takes a lot of extra time, materials, and skill, and you've got to pay for that. You also might be restricted in your movement. How much differs from suit to suit, but on average you will be hindered somewhat. You won't quite be able to move your legs as much as you normally can. But the biggest con of all is the heat. All that padding on your legs is just insulating you and getting you hotter and hotter and warmer and warmer. And on top of that, there is a huge con of the transport, because you got big leggies, you need big baggies for your big leggies. It will take up at least one fairly large tote, probably two if you've got a big tail or any large extras, which makes air travel more expensive, less room in your car, it's just a lot more cumbersome. Next, there's dropped crotch fursuits, which is exactly what it sounds like. A fursuit that has the crotch a bit lower, usually at your thighs or your knees, and it gives the illusion of a longer body or shorter legs. These pretty much have the same pros and cons as digigrade fursuits, except they're gonna cost even more. Not many makers will offer drop crotch style because it's very difficult to pull off and takes so much extra time. But a big blaring con here is they are so difficult to walk around in. You literally have to have your legs apart and waddle, which in turn looks adorable, but it is exhausting as heck. Like, running, not a chance. The only pro of a dropped crotch suit is the looks. It looks absolutely incredible and really emphasizes the species that have these proportions, like corgis, otters, and crocodiles. You can look ridiculously adorable or completely badass, and it is such an awesomely unique look that is only achievable through this way. And lastly, quad suits. These look completely stunning when done well, and is the only way to fursuit as a character that is on all fours. If you want attention at a big convention, a quad suit will easily turn every head and have you stopping every 2 seconds for photos. But sadly, there are a lot of cons to them, which is why you don't really see them around often. Firstly, the price. Even more time and skill is required to make one of these bad boys, and if you can even find a maker willing to do it, it's going to cost you easily 2 or 3 times the cost of a standard full fursuit. And if you want to try making it yourself, it is very, very difficult. Quad suits are the absolute deep end of fursuit making. But even after all that, they are incredibly difficult to perform in. I hope you have some good core and back muscles because you are going to need them. Humans were not made to walk around in that kind of shape for long periods of time, so you're going to get very sore very fast. The vision in quad suits is also usually abysmal. How you see depends on who made it. Like Beast Cub has a really cool method of doing collar vision, but you are always going to be looking at the ground. Because in order to see in front of you, you have to have your head way up as high as it can go. And unless your neck is made of steel, that's going to get very sore. You will absolutely need a handler to guide your blind foreleg itself. And from here, you've got lots of little extras like, say, wings, horns, stompy feet, which pretty much have the same pros and cons, being they look awesome, but can create more maintenance and need more space for travel. Even things like LEDs, like they're gonna look amazing, but they're probably gonna start breaking after a while, and you need to know how you're gonna go about that. And that's everything I've got time for. Leave me know in the comments what type of fursuit you have and what you found out about it with its pros and cons and stuff. Or maybe there's something I didn't talk about. Let me know in the comments. Tune into the next episode where I will go into every single detail of the different types of heads. There is a lot to go into here, so I hope you'll be watching that one next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!